long time, I felt like I was walking through life with a name tag I never chose. But instead of having my real name on it, this name tag had things like quiet, lazy, not smart, and not capable. The hardest part was not just the other people saw me that way. The hardest part was that I believed it too. I think a lot of people carry old labels. Sometimes they come from family, school, failure, or years of having the same things said about yourself. For me, the labels followed me for most of my life. And growing up, I was always very quiet. I never had that many friends, and because of that, I felt like I was just in the background. I was there, but I did not always feel seen. And school made that feeling even worse. And I do not do well in high school, and I never thought I would get into a good college. I struggled with math, retaining information, and remembering what I learned. And after a while, I started to believe that maybe I was not that smart. And when you believe something about yourself for like so long, it starts to feel like a fact. And my parents, they would always remind me of the lazy version of myself. And I understand why. That is a version they always grew up seeing. But it is hard when you're trying to change and people still see the old name tag. And after high school, something started to change. I came across a speech by Tom Bilyeu, and his message really stayed with me. He talked about how people can change, and but change doesn't just happen by accident. You have to push yourself, struggle, and also take action. That made me question the identity I had accepted for myself. That made me question like who I was and what I need to do in life. Before that, people were basically supposed to always be set like they were, like whatever identity they had given themselves. If you're lazy, you stay lazy. If you're bad at school, that was just who you were. But his speech made me wonder, what if I'm not stuck? What if I can actually become someone different? That led me to other ideas too. I became interested in this other author, Friedrich Nietzsche, and the idea that struggle can shape a person. I also read Man's Search for Meaning, which made me think about how purpose and identity are correlated, and how powerful the mind can it really is. Slowly, I started making my identity more known to me, and realizing that identity is not just something people give you; it's something you build. That's when I started rewriting the name tag. But realizing you can change is one thing. Actually, changing is a lot harder. For me, school became the place where I had to prove it to myself. I had to study even when I did not feel like it. I had to spend hours learning things that didn't never came naturally to me. I had to keep going even when I felt slower than other people. There were days when I struggled and the voice came back. The voice said, "See, you aren't smart enough." But this time I tried not to let the voice in. I kept pushing myself, I kept studying, I kept showing up, and eventually I got into NC State. Getting into NC State did not magically fix everything. It didn't erase every insecurity, but it gave me proof. It proved that my high school grades were not the end of my story. It proved that that didn't mean I was incapable. It proved that the label was not the full truth. Over time, I learned that confidence doesn't always come from before action. Sometimes confidence comes after action. Sometimes you only start believing in yourself when you keep promises to yourself. Every time I studied when I wanted to quit, I was writing the name tag. Every time I kept going when I felt behind, I was writing the name tag. Every time I chose effort over comfort, I was rewriting the name tag. And so, who am I really? I'm I'm not just a quiet kid. I'm not the lazy version my friends and family remember. I'm not my high school grades. And every time you choose discipline, growth, and effort, I keep writing the name tag a little more. And because I'm the person holding the marker now, I can change my name tag. I used to think identity was something you were stuck with. And now I believe identity is something you earn, one choice at a time.